First of all, I mean, look, Friday was supposed to be a super busy day for travel, not least because it's summer holidays, but also, I think, a significant day post-pandemic. And now we have got tens of thousands of people and planes all in the wrong place.
Absolutely right. Yes, it was going to be the busiest day since 2019 for flights from UK airports. We didn't get there because, well, 350 flights to, from, or within the UK were cancelled. That represents 50,000 people who woke up on Saturday morning miles from where they wanted to be and are faced with now trying to recover, get where they need to be at a time which is itself an extremely busy weekend with very, very few spare seats. And unfortunately, if your flight is cancelled, then you don't automatically get priority on the next one. What happens is that the airline gives priority to people already booked on the flights which are going, and then you have to kind of scrabble around for the few remaining seats. And this weekend, there aren't many of those. So interesting to see Daniela, who had that terrible experience finding that her flight to Turkey was cancelled. I would say that she was travelling, I believe, with TUI, big package holiday company, and they will be putting on extra flights to get people to Turkey and get holidaymakers who are already there back. So they're going to need a little bit of time to do that, but there's no need to kind of give up your holiday. If you're on a package holiday, you have rock solid consumer protection. It isn't, I'm afraid, the same if you've decided to put together a DIY trip.
That's interesting you say that, Simon, because Daniela was told that she's only going to get a refund, not a replacement holiday.
Well, it's very, very clear what the rules are. The organisers, the airline, has to get her to her destination as soon as possible. If they really have pulled the plug and said, OK, your trip's cancelled, well, I'm glad to say that there are still, even at this late stage, plenty of holidays around. So she will be able to book a different holiday, hopefully to the same destination with a different provider, and going to see a good a travel agent would be a very good way to sort that out. Meanwhile, many, many other people, and I'm just hearing from them here and various parts of the world, being told various things by various companies, including, oh, well, we haven't got another flight for 3 days, so you're just going to have to wait. That's complete nonsense. Under air passenger rights rules within Europe, if your flight's cancelled, then the airline has to get you to your destination as soon as possible. And if that means the airline has to spend hundreds of pounds buying a seat on a rival airline, well, that's just tough. That's what the rules say.
That's really interesting and really good advice for our viewers, because I was also speaking earlier to Lorenzo. He's had a nightmare journey from Bari in Italy. They were flying back to the UK. He was supposed to be going to Edinburgh. Flight was actually diverted because it ran out of fuel. Obviously, this all has so many knock-on effects, the outage. He's been told outright by Ryanair that they will not get any kind of refund or compensation.
Well, look, I'm not sure of the exact details of his trip, but of course, the airline has a contractual and legal duty to get you to the destination it says on your ticket. And therefore, they certainly won't be paying any extra compensation. For instance, EasyJet was very quick. As soon as it cancelled its first flight yesterday from Gatwick to Berlin, it said these are exceptional circumstances. You're not having any compensation. But any airline, including Ryanair, if they cancel or divert a flight, they have to get you to your destination without it costing you a penny extra. And I'm just hearing actually from a chap in who's stuck at Heathrow. He was coming back from Munich, changing planes to Edinburgh. British Airways said, oh, well, you can't have a flight to Edinburgh until Monday. And he's sensibly gone off and got the train to Edinburgh. But it's a real shame that airlines are not stepping up and meeting the rules, which have been in place for, 17 years now. And instead, they are falling short. And I'll be hopefully catching a word with the new aviation minister and suggesting that they could be more robust as a government to ensure that passengers' rights are respected.
Yeah, it does seem remarkable that time and again we have a very similar conversation. I mean, nothing on this scale, of course, Simon, before, but we do seem to talk about airlines doing this all the time. Now, you mentioned there your trains as well. I mean, for me yesterday, there were no trains at all because of the outages. There was all sorts of issues, particularly in rural areas as well. You're at Manchester Piccadilly right now. Is there any kind of travel chaos there? Has there been a knock-on effect? What's the situation? Or are things back to normal with the trains at the least?
I would characterise it as disruption as normal. So, for example, my train here yesterday was an hour late. Nobody ever explained why that was, but we all got here in the end. Northern has got a number of cancellations today. They will have many more tomorrow in northwest England because quite understandably, a lot of their staff who don't have Sunday in the working week are choosing, as they're perfectly lawful right, not to work on a Sunday. So there will be once again cancellations, probably not as many as last week when the Euros final was on. But yeah, wherever you're going, hope for the best, but be prepared for delays and disruption, whether you're going on the trains or indeed trying to get where you need to be. 45 flights so far cancelled today. That's another 7,000 or 8,000 people who are out of position. It's extremely regrettable. And of course, this is the start of the Great Getaway. At the end of the last Great Getaway, last August bank holiday, I think you and I were talking about the failure of the air traffic control computer at NATS, which caused many more cancellations.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was blamed on an intern then, but perish the thought of the poor person who pressed that update button yesterday. I would not want to be in their shoes. I also thought you were going to surprise me and say, actually, trains are better than normal, Simon. So, look, what's the global situation, Simon? What were the worst hit airports? Where are people really struggling? And to make that point, emphasise that point, all flights going out of the UK also need to bring people back to the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's 25,000 or probably after today, 28,000 people stranded abroad. So it really was very, very uneven. Amsterdam Schiphol, one of the big European hubs, was particularly badly hit. The German airline Eurowings, a subsidiary of Lufthansa, cancelled loads of flights. But the one place I would say where you're going to get an awful lot of quite cheesed off British travellers is Naples. I couldn't believe it. I mean, beautiful city. And if you're not in any rush to come home, then, well, enjoy the airline's hospitality. But you had British Airways cancelling 2 flights from Heathrow to Naples. You then had Wizz Air cancelling one from Luton, EasyJet from Gatwick, and to complete the full house, Ryanair from Stansted. So I count that's almost 1,000 people who were hoping to come back, who are, well, I hope, enjoying the hospitality and the beauty of that great southern Italian city.
Yeah, lucky them. I guess. Maybe. Look, you mentioned the airline's hospitality then. Where do all these costs lie? Because you said earlier, look, it's the airline's duty to get you where you were supposed to be. We also discussed Daniela that we spoke to because this is a lot of money. People spend a lot of time saving up for their holidays. If they can't go on it, they might not be able to afford to stump up the cost of replacement holidays. Who pays the price? How much is this costing everyone?
Oh, well, this is costing the airlines and the holiday companies an absolute fortune. I would imagine we will be into certainly over £10 million. And that's because this is when the airlines absolutely are making their top money. The prices that people would have been paying for flights that were cancelled yesterday, a number of those people would have said, well, I'm not going ahead with my trip and I'll have my money back. That's on top of all the disruption costs, and it's absolutely the airline's responsibility while you are stuck abroad in Naples or whatever to pay for your hotel, to pay for your meals. If they don't do that, then you can spend and claim back, but you're going to have itemised receipts, and they don't want to see any alcohol on that meal bill. Thank you very much. But overall, it's just very, very messy. And if you are in the position that your package holiday is cancelled, well, as I say, get back to the travel agent and say, find me another one. If it's curtailed, and lots of people will be flying out today having missed a day of their trip, then actually, because you booked a package holiday, you should be entitled to get a proportion of the cost of your holiday back, because there you were in Birmingham when you were hoping to be in Benidorm.
That's really good advice. Always good to have your hive mind on Sky News. Thanks very much indeed, Simon Calder.
Thank you.